Here's the rundown.
Welcome into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Patton here with you on this Thursday. And man, if you saw the title card, you see that we've got a jam-packed show.
Looking forward to it, if I can manage my voice.
I hear you, man. It's, here, go ahead.
If you're going to be able to do that all day or not.
You're not the only one who's dealing with that right now. Almost everybody in my house is sick.
I think it's an allergy thing.
Yeah, everybody's kind of got the sinuses and the allergies right now. It's a tough time of year for that as we get to the dog days of summer.
Yeah. So we're going to battle through it, though. But like I said, I'm looking forward to talking to Marlin Sims in Coach's Corner and talking a little.
Let's call it assistant principal's corner today, I guess.
Former Coach's Corner.
Yeah.
And talking a little Tennessee State and Ohio Valley Conference. Ohio Valley Conference / Big South football.
Yeah, I guess the Big South is in there too. So yeah, it's going to be a
Big South, which extends up to New York and Pennsylvania.
Conference realignment knows no bounds.
Clearly.
And we'll talk about that today. We get into conference realignment. We get into a lot of stuff. So we're looking forward to a really fun and exciting show. Again, Mike Patton's coming up at 3 o'clock. John Hattler, the voice of the Skyhawks at UT Martin, will be with us at 3:30. Marlin Sims, as you mentioned. All of that coming up and so much more. Looking very much forward to it. But before we get into anything else, Mo, we might as well get into yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown. See, there it is. All right. Go ahead with that rundown.
The Thursday rundown is brought to you by Titans Flag Football. Have your kids play like the pros this fall season in select locations across Middle Tennessee. Titans Flag Football brings pre-K through 8th graders together to learn football fundamentals and, most importantly, have fun. Sign up for their fall season by visiting www.titansflagfootball.com.
Major League Baseball action yesterday. Red Sox down the Braves 5-3. It was the Brewers 3-0 over the Reds. The Cardinals 11-7 winners against the Diamondbacks, and the Pirates take one from the Padres 3-2. It was the Cubs 10, White Sox 7, Rangers 13, Astros 5. And in minor league play, rain shortened action, but the Sounds down Norfolk 5-3.
WNBA action from Wednesday night. It was the Lynx with a 97-92 win over the Mystics. Soccer action, USA and the Netherlands played to a 1-1 draw. It was Portugal 2, Vietnam 0, and Nigeria edged Australia 3-2.
Today's Major League Baseball action, it's the Cubs and Cardinals at 6:45 tonight, and that's the only game of local interest on tap. And in minor league play, Norfolk downed the Sounds earlier today, 5-3. They played at 11:05.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
WNBA action today at the bottom of the hour. It's the Fever and the Sparks, and you can see that on NBA TV. At 6 o'clock on Amazon Prime, you've got the Dream and at the Liberty. And in soccer action this evening, Argentina plays South Africa at 7 on FS1. England and Denmark play at 3:30 a.m. Set your alarm. And at 6 a.m. on FS1, it's China and Haiti. And that is your rundown.
All right. So today's top story, as every day, is brought to you by our friends at Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill in Columbia. Don't forget to go by there and see the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly for your fresh hand-cut meats on a daily basis or their daily options. Of course, they have the finest meat in 3 in Neely's Mill. And maybe beyond.
Quite possibly beyond, but definitely in Neely's
Mill. But today's top story, Mo, talk a little bit about Trent Dilfer as the AAC Media Days.
Plural?
No, Media Day, you're right. Okay. Give me just a second here.
Go ahead.
Let me see if I can.
Can you access it?
If I can access it quickly. I don't know that I can. But he spoke to media members. Someone asked him what it was going to be like in his situation. He's a little bit, he's got a little bit different situation than
his path to a collegiate head coaching position has been decidedly different than most.
Yeah, and I mean,
and that was the basis for the question that was asked of him during the AAC, media gathering. So
let's listen to what he had to say first and foremost, and we'll go from there.
As a Power 5 first-year head coach. Absolutely.
I'm not sure I can do that.
Doesn't seem.
All right. Well, okay. We'll just have to summarize.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, what the question is, how do you handle maybe folks saying that you're not ready to be a collegiate coach, or you shouldn't be able to be a collegiate coach. You didn't pay your dues quite the same way that that others have, and that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. And essentially, Dilfer said, I don't care. I don't care what you say.
No, it's not essential.
Well, that's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said. He doesn't care, other than the people in his locker room, the people that write his check, the people. No, I'm not even sure he cares about the people that come and cheer for his team. But basically, he said, it's kind of, if you're not with us, you're against us kind of thing, and I don't care.
And to a point, I get that. You can't. This is a guy who's been criticized his entire career. Worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, etc.
Accurate, by the way.
Yeah. In order to be successful, you have to not care what people outside of your program think.
You have to have that that confident / arrogant air to be successful, I think, in any pursuit. I think you have to have that. I think you have to have that chip on your shoulder to some degree.
I think he definitely has that.
And because of that, it's tough for me to really take much exception with what he said or how he said it. But at the same time, it just came across some kind of way.
It
And
came across exactly
because,
like you said, arrogant.
yeah,
but that's okay.
But because we can't play it, I would encourage you to go find it.
Yeah,
because
it is
because
available.
we can't do it justice talking about it, I don't think.
Yeah, I wish that there was a way for me to make that happen, but there just isn't. But that being said, it's exactly what, what we talked about with him going to UAB. This is a pretty big step. He said, I was happy at Lipscomb Academy. He said, it was my wife who said that I needed a different challenge.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you believe that? Because I don't.
I don't think Lipscomb Academy was where he was going to stay forever. I don't think that he anticipated getting an offer this quick.
I don't think he necessarily anticipated getting an offer this quick, but I do think he was doing things to try to put himself on that radar at that level. Yeah. And he was going to go when the situation presented itself.
I don't think he was.
He wasn't going to stay at Lipscomb 20 years.
Yeah, no.
He wasn't going to stay at Lipscomb 10 years.
And as evidenced by taking the first job to come along.
Well, I mean,
it's a good job.
I don't think UAB is a bad job.
It's a good job. I mean, certainly it's not. There could have been worse jobs.
It's not West Alabama.
Right. There could have been worse jobs offered.
Mm-hmm.
He just happened to get a pretty good one as his first gig.
Now, as someone said to me yesterday about something unrelated, what's the saying? With much something comes much responsibility. I mean,
yeah.
It's a good job. And now he's got to go down there and perform.
Yeah, and coming off easily the best coach in program history, Bill Clark. I mean, no offense to Brian Vincent, who did a great job last year as the interim and is now offensive coordinator out in New Mexico, I think, somewhere. Either New Mexico State or New Mexico, one of those two. But, Bill Clark's the greatest coach to ever walk the sidelines at UAB.
It's a short list.
It's not a long list.
It's Bill Clark.
Neil Callaway, Bill Clark. There's one I'm missing, the guy who replaced Watson Brown. But yeah, and then Watson Brown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
UAB head coaches are, but no one had ever had anywhere near the success that Garrick McGee. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Neil Callaway actually took over for Watson. But
I was a little surprised Garrick McGee wasn't any more successful than he was, to be honest. But coming from his SEC pedigree,
I'm not, because I don't think UAB was a very good job. Neil Callaway, whatever good Watson Brown had done, Neil Callaway undid pretty quick. And how he stayed there for 5 seasons is beyond me. But that's neither here nor there. Bill Clark, 75-49, has never had a losing season in his career and didn't have one at UAB, including bringing a team back from the dead. So
I didn't realize he was only there 1 season before they killed the program.
Yeah. No, they took him away from Jacksonville State and then killed the program. And let me tell you, as a Jacksonville State dude, I was mad.
Sure. Because that man was sitting there minding his own business.
Minding his business. It wasn't looking for no UAB job. He was a Jacksonville State grad. This guy's our guy. Anyway. Yeah, but in the long run, I know Trent Dilfer was going to leave. I think he got lucky that UAB was the first job that did come along. I also think he got unlucky that UAB was the first job that came along. Because if it had been West Alabama, you can turn that down and feel okay about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost had to take this.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like,
so
if you don't take this, okay, what are you looking for, bro?
And on top of that, but on the backside, like you said, it's the first job that came along. So, well, he was going to take the first job. Well, not necessarily. It just happened to be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really argue with him taking that job.
No.
But again, with great power comes great responsibility. Now he's got to go and do it.
He's going to have to do it. And I think he's going to be able to. We know that he has great work with quarterbacks. He's done great work with quarterbacks over the years. I feel like he's put together a pretty solid staff as far as recruiting goes. They've recruited well to this point for AAC level. And, you know, the fact is that Lipscomb Academy, in all of the ways outside of on the field, even on the field to a degree, but in all the ways off the field, inside the facilities, they're in a much better place than they were 5 years ago. And a lot of that is due in part to his fundraising ability. And I think that's one of the things that UAB loved about it. You're telling me that Lipscomb Academy's facilities are just as good as they were 5 years ago?
No, I'm not telling you that Lipscomb's facilities are just as good now. What I'm telling you is, one, this is a football program that had a lot of success before Trent Dilfer ever stepped on that campus.
Okay, and I just said off the field.
Two, there's a lot of other people that if they had gotten that support could have been successful as well.
Okay, but why didn't they?
Why didn't they what?
Why didn't they get that support? Why did Trent get that support?
Because Trent was a name.
Okay. So again, Lipscomb Academy is better off in facilities and everything else off the field than they were 5 years ago, and that's because of Trent Dilfer. That's the facts. I mean, you can be mad that it's the facts, but it's the facts. And I don't really care. I'm like Trent. Trent Dilfer, one way or the other, couldn't care less. But I do think that he elevated that program in other ways that had not been done. And I think that's what he's going to do to UAB.
I think he elevated that program in ways that had not been done and in ways that they had not been concerned with doing.
That very well may be the case. But that's the same thing that UAB faces, right? This is a program that is largely forgotten about in the state of Alabama. It's a program that needs a name like Trent Dilfer to be successful. And he has to not give a crap about what the media says about it.
Sure.
To come out and say that at media day, though, you got to have some guts.
Well, I mean, set the tone.
I mean, he's like, listen, I fully expect his first press conference in Birmingham that will have 4 reporters. There will have been more reporters at Lipscomb Academy games than there will be at UAB. Okay, I want to put that out there, so y'all know.
I would not be the least bit surprised if there's one who was at Lipscomb Academy games who will be at a UAB game.
Won't be surprised either.
No.
But he's going to have to build that relationship, and this was not a great way to start it.
No, I mean, when you tell the people that cover your program that you don't care what they think, what real reason is there for them to
care about you are doing? And in a program that like UAB, who has been begging and needing,
where there's plenty of opportunities to go cover Auburn in Alabama
and literally anyone else. Bold strategy, Cotton.
See how
it plays out. Oh man, let's take a break. When we come back, we will talk with Marlin Sims, former Cane Ridge High School basketball coach, now taking a new position. We'll tell you what that position is on the other side of said break. Stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yalamo Patton with you on this Thursday. Looking forward to a little Coach's Corner action coming your way here in just a moment. And we'll tell you that Coach's Corner is brought to you by our friends at From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Renee Hart and the fine folks there, keeping you fed and happy. If you're out on your way to Chapel Hill for whatever reason, maybe Henry Horton State Park, if you're headed out there, play a little golf, do a little camping, just whatever. Should be fun. And just make sure to stop by and see Renee, and she will make sure that you are full before you get out there. There's no question.
Yeah, you might want to go through there after you go play golf.
Yeah, no doubt. And whether it's breakfast or catering, she can also take care of you there as well. All right. We go now to Coach's Corner, which is, I guess, former Coach Corner. Cane Ridge, Marlin Sims. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, thanks, Coach. We appreciate you taking the time. News came out, I guess it was it Monday night, Tuesday night?
It was, all the days have been rolling over. I think Monday night. Monday night. I'm not for sure.
Explain the timing of that announcement and that development, as you will be moving, off the floor and into administration at Cane Ridge High School?
Well, we had a leadership change here at Cane Ridge High School this upcoming school year, and so Dr. Deontay Alexander came in July 1st. And he looked at some things, how things were running, and he decided he wanted to hire another principal. So, I threw my name in the hat, not knowing. I went and got my administrative license a couple years ago just because I didn't always want to have to coach. You know what I'm saying? Like if I wanted to walk away from the game and be able to do something else in my life, I was able to do that. So, again, you always give yourself options to be better. What else you gonna give your life to outside of just that avenue? So, interviewed for the position. I was offered the position. And then I took the entire weekend to decide how to get my thoughts together. And again, I'll be honest with you guys. I really, and this is gonna sound like so, I don't know, arrogant or whatever. I didn't think people really cared this much. I really didn't. I thought it was just, I'm being dead serious. So, when I left McGavick and came to Cane Ridge, it wasn't that big a deal. There's no announcements. There was no nothing. I just showed up on Cane Ridge sidelines one day, and everybody was okay, right? And so I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. And maybe that's the naivety of me. Maybe that's the humbleness of me. Or maybe it's the arrogance of me. I have no idea. But I really did not think it was that big of a deal until I announced it on the Cane Ridge Twitter page on Monday night, and the amount of outpouring from peers, former players, parents, the Cane Ridge community, the McGavick community, just the Nashville community, nationwide lives that you've touched nationwide, start reaching out, and then then you reach out, and like the Tennessean reaches out. I don't know if I can say all this stuff, but newspaper outlets start reaching out, to have conversations about it, and I really just did not think it was that big. But I'm very humbled. I'm very humbled today to be in front of a group of people who thought that much about me and the impact I may or may not have had on their children in this community. So
Let me just tell you, I saw you play in a state championship game at Whites Creek. I know your high school career. I know your collegiate career at Northern Illinois, and a lot of people in this community know that. And the fact that you played in Metro and you came back to Metro and spent 20 years as a head coach in Metro, like you said, at McGavick, at Cane Ridge, won more than 350 games. I can see why you might think nobody cared, but I can tell you with all certainty that you're wrong. And I'm glad that you got the reaction that you got from people to let you know that you're wrong. Just done a great job and been a class act everywhere you've been. And I think that's why people reacted to the news the way that they did. Again, having spent your entire head coaching career in Metro Nashville, it's something that these days isn't seen a lot. And with that said, other than giving yourself some options and taking that next step, what was the thought process in, stepping off the floor?
At that point, I've coached probably my two favorite players, both my boys, Aaron, I've coached Aaron at McGavick and Brandon here at Cane Ridge, two totally different kids, but my two favorite players. And then to go through as people say, like the growth where we came here at Cane Ridge with Justin, we first got here and trying to teach kids that they can win, and there's no knock against the previous regime, but we can be successful if we just fine tune some things. And to take from Justin to Kyrie to Damian to Brandon, and it just ultimately at the end of the day, I don't know, will I win a gold ball? I want to, but I kind of start feeling like Coach Calipari feels when it comes to guys, like Brandon's reached every dream and goal for himself, and I had part to do with that, and that's really what you want. You want these kids to reach all their goals and dreams and be the best they possibly can be. And so at some point, you do have to be selfish. You have to look at yourself. What's the next thing for me? You hit that 20 mark. So I've evaluated my career at 10 years. I left McGavick, went to Cane Ridge. Then at the 10-year mark here at Cane Ridge, now I evaluate my career again. What's the next step for me? And it just so happened that, my Lord and Savior, God, Jesus Christ, let's try this out. So just a new challenge for me, for my career, going forward, how I can touch lives in the same way, but in a different way. Just more than just on the athletic court or what people might see on Tuesday and Friday nights, but the grind and the grit that we put in from Sunday through Saturday with children of all ages, high school, 9th through 12th grade. So,
you mentioned Damian, talking about Damian Ball. You mentioned obviously Brandon Miller. There was a picture on Twitter a couple of weeks ago about those two guys both playing in an NBA Summer League game, both up on the floor at the same time. Damian with the Lakers, obviously Brandon as the number 2 pick overall of the Charlotte Hornets. For a coach, for a program, probably doesn't get a whole lot better. A high school program probably doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
Yeah, we're not a prep school. We're not a private school. We're a local high school here in Antioch, Tennessee, and I think that right there was probably, like I said, outside of coaching both my kids, is the highlight of my career, is just be there and to watch those two live their dream out. I don't know of any other high school coach in this area in Tennessee. I don't know. I really could care less. They can say that, can go there, go to the NBA Summer League game and watch both kids on the court compete and live their dreams, and their parents and their families be so excited for what those young men have truly become. So it truly was a pinnacle in my coaching career to be part of that moment.
Well, if that's the pinnacle of your coaching career, it's got a lot of different rungs to leap, because 207 wins and back-to-back state tournament trips in 21 and 22. And obviously, just a long and solid career, Coach. You have to, when you look back at the way that you coached, especially in Metro Nashville, do you feel like that, your impact was felt more on the court or off the court?
I think when you look at the situation, I think if we looked at just on the court, people would probably name, out of 20 years or 10 years at Cane Ridge, 8 kids, 8 kids. But if you really look at the totality of it all, off the court, you touched over 1,000 kids' lives. And so I think off the court is the part that means the most. Again, Damian and Brandon living their dreams out. We got young men coming back to say thank you, and they're parents now, and they take things that you tried to teach them years ago and apply them to their everyday life. And that's the part, I think, as a coach, that makes you emotional, that makes you truly understand where you stand at, when it comes to judgment time. And again, it's just about the legacy you try to leave. Again, I don't know all that other stuff. I just know I just try to be the best I possibly could be. I thought my parents did a great job trying to raise me. I try not to be too hard on them. I was a compliant kid, and I didn't get any trouble as a kid. But then also on top of that, the Cornelius Ridleys of the world, Jim Naunas, my college coach Brian Hamill, those guys, touching my life and making me feel important through the game of basketball truly just means a lot. If I could, and I say Doc Shelton was my first AAU basketball coach. Nobody knows. I don't see a lot of people that. Doc Shelton was my first AAU basketball coach, and when I was in 8th grade, and and so I've always tried to pattern myself with something about those people, those men that have really touched my life, along with my father. So,
well, it's certainly a testament to what you've been able to accomplish, that those kids do come back, but also that the administration felt like you touched so many kids' lives on the basketball court that an opportunity to do so as an administrator, You now get a chance to mentor all of those kids at Cane Ridge High School. So what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It means the fact that I think I'll become a fabric of the community here at Cane Ridge. I think when you first enter a new school, you feel like an outsider. You feel like, do I belong? I think most people feel that way, but you really try to find your niche. You try to be amazing at your niche and grow in your niche and what you're great at. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it shows that I am a fabric of the community. I'm part of this community, and the administration thought that much about me to make me, put me on administrative staff. And that really means a lot, to help drive instruction, to help drive lives outside of just basketball and sports, but actually in everyday life and learning and those things that truly, truly matter in the foundation of us, education. That's the part that really, really, truly means a lot.
Former Cane Ridge boys basketball coach Marlin Sims, now leading the freshman academy as an assistant principal at Cane Ridge, joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Coach, and I'm going to continue to call you Coach. So.
Please do, please. No one has stopped. My friends have not stopped. No one has stopped. So please keep going.
I'm going to continue to call you Coach because I think you earned that.
Thank you.
So, as you embark on this administrative portion of your career, I mean, you're still a competitor. You still want to continue to climb that ladder, so to speak. I mean, do you see yourself as a principal at some point? Is that something that you ultimately aspire to? And it might not even be a fair question a week or 4 days into your administrative career.
Yeah, I think, it is a tough question. Thanks for asking too. Makes me think. Sure, you sit down, you write down goals for yourself. And again, you're very competitive, so you want to win. And I had a friend of mine tell me that the one thing I have to accept about this job, I'm not going to win every day. So, I gotta really figure that part out of my life right now. But, ultimately at the end of the day, I just want to be successful and I want to touch lives. So whatever role that might be, executive principal, assistant principal, they send me to the school board one day. I create my own company or my own educational system or whatever it might be. Whatever's out there for me, I'm gonna figure it out. And I'm gonna put goals in front of myself and I'm gonna do my best to reach them and work my butt off trying to get there.
That's tough. Somebody slapping you in the face with that. But I mean, administratively speaking, that is the reality when you look at high school education these days. You're not going to win every day. You're going to have a kid that suddenly stops showing up, or you're going to have something tragic take place or something like that. I mean, it's just the culture today. And, it's unfortunate, but it's real.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as one thing, like, you're coaching a team, and I'm gonna try to do my best, approach this whole thing as a coach, treating it like a team, treating the kids like treating the students like basketball team or whatever. And the boat's just bigger now. But, I know even as coaching kids, we're gonna lose some kids along the way. Every kid, you come in 10 freshmen, 12 freshmen, you never have 10, 12 seniors. You just don't. And the same thing is true, but again, you just want to touch lives. You want to touch men, women, whatever ethnicity. You just want to touch lives and do the best job you can be, and leave a mark on kids that they can leave the next, or that pay it forward. I'm really a big believer in that. Pay it forward. Try to do something for the next person, and hopefully the person you did, they can do something for the next person. We all can touch lives that way. That's really truly what I try to live by.
So I have one question here, Coach.
Sure.
Since you are on the administrative staff at Cane Ridge High School, will you have a hand in choosing your replacement?
I would hope that my opinion is asked. I would hope that I'm asked to sit on a couple of interviews, and we all try to as a team figure this out. But again, I want whoever comes in to be their own person. Don't try to be me. Don't try to do it my way. Do it your own way, whatever that might look like for you. My way works for me. And that's one thing I do know about kids. I know about people. They can sense a phony. They can sense when you're trying to be something you're not. And when you're trying to be somebody you're not, you can't be successful at that. So whoever, we decide to bring in, whoever comes in, whoever interviews, whatever, the biggest advice I would give them, be yourself. Be who you are, do it your way. Don't try to be me, because trying to be me go get you in trouble. So don't do it my way. So
well, we certainly appreciate all of the efforts that you gave over the last 2 decades plus as a player and as a coach, and looking forward to the next at least 1 decade. I won't make you work for 20 more years, Coach, but we look forward to what you're able to do.
I don't know what they have for me. I don't know. It could be 20 more. I have no idea.
You never know. I'm not going to put that on you, though. But we are looking forward to what you are able to accomplish over the next few years at Cane Ridge High School. And good luck. Freshmen are. I was a freshman once. It's not easy transitioning into a high school from middle school. So you certainly have a tough job, and it may be the toughest you've ever faced. And for that, we give you all of our thoughts.
Thank you
we'll
so
keep
much.
you in those for the rest.
We got freshman orientation today at 4:00. So a bunch of kids gonna be pouring in. And I promise you this, I'll be more nervous than they're gonna be. So hey, but as I say this, let me say this to you guys. I just want to thank you all. Thank you for what you do for high school athletics. Thank you for what you do for sports. You just don't know what it means to people when you all touch their lives. And I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for high school sports. For me, Maurice, I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me. I can never thank people enough for the way they've tried to make me feel over my lifetime. And I hope I've done the same to you. I've tried to be respectful, tried to shake your hand, try to say thank you. If I did have an attitude, it's more with officials, not with you all. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything you truly done for me. Thank you so much.
Coach, we appreciate it. Appreciate you taking some time with us, and good luck with that orientation this afternoon.
All right. You guys have an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break here, and when we come back, we've got Braves chatter. So
that should be fun.
Yeah, buddy. Stick around on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill's Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back Neck Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Just happened to be the end of the song there. That was unfortunate, but that's about how today's gone. So, just as you said, we'll battle through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the adversity, it's how you respond.
That's it. That's it.
And we're responding by giving you the most timely and comprehensive sports news coverage in all of Middle Tennessee right here, right now. We go now to our Braves segment. And so we'll, of course,
May 27, 1989, Dale Murphy became the 10th major leaguer to drive in 6 runs in 1 inning, hitting a pair of homers in the 6th. The Braves scored a game's worth of runs in a 10-1 victory over visiting San Francisco. Murphy's 3-run homer off Atlee Hammaker scored Jeff Blauser and Lonnie Smith to make it a 3-1 game. Following a Jody Davis 2-run shot off Jeff Brantley and Smith's 2-run single off Rich Gossage, Murph got Gossage for a second 3-run job to drive in Blauser and Smith yet again.
Wow.
Right place, right time.
That's something.
That was this day in Braves history.
So not only did he hit the 2 home runs, but drove in the same 2 people.
Same 2 people. Yeah.
That's
just when you think lightning can't strike twice.
Yeah, just
there it is.
Just give Dale Murphy a bat.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. All right. So let's just say an absolutely unlucky couple of games.
You remember, and you may not, because I think we've all tried to put it out of our minds, the unfortunate international trip earlier this year. I think this trip would kind of go in that same category.
Well, and it's not, I mean, it's just been kind of this way for the entire second half of the season. Every little thing that can go wrong has gone wrong. And
well, it all starts with the lack of offense.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to score a bunch of runs. Even when they did score a bunch of runs, they gave up a bunch of runs and lost to forgot who it was they lost to, but lost
Arizona.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Lost a game where they finally did score some runs last night. Obviously, a 3-run home run from Ozzie Albies, and that was all they got. Got a great 6 innings out of Spencer Strider. And I don't know, did you see what I retweeted earlier about Spencer Strider's ERA by inning?
Mm-mm.
In the first inning, a 2.14, second, 5.14, third, 4.29, fourth, 4.29, fifth, 2.70, sixth, 1.29, seventh, 13.50.
So he doesn't need to go out for the 7th anymore.
Not never. Not ever again. I don't care if he's only thrown 72 pitches.
If we know that, then surely Rick Kranitz and Brian Snitker know that.
I mean, one would think that information is available to them. It is available on Twitter if they don't have it. So
you don't think Brian Snitker's on Twitter, do you? If he was, he's not now.
Yeah, I hope not. But the fact is that the Braves probably win the game last night if a ball that hits Ozzie right in the web doesn't sneak up on him and come right back out.
I don't know if he didn't see it because
I think it was
if he was off the pitcher or
he was trying to go up to it. He was probably paying attention to the bag to some degree because his foot was about to trip over it. I mean, just every little thing, and then the ball goes away, and Pierce Johnson doesn't get out of the inning on what would have easily been probably the easiest double play in the history of the game.
Right.
And then a fly ball that's an out at all but 2 ballparks in all of America. An inning fly ball ends up being a double that scores 2 runs. They take the lead 4-3.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ronald Acuna Jr. hits a ball that is an expected batting average of .950. 95 times out of 100, that ball is a hit. And here we are. Who hit the ball that almost went out? That the right fielder had to cover 87 feet to go get.
I don't remember who that was. I think it was
Riley.
Riley? Yeah.
Riley hit one to right center that probably gets out of most every ballpark. And I mean, literally everything that can go wrong will go wrong, which is why, even as pessimistic as I can be as a Braves fan, I'm just like, you know what? We're going to get through this. On the other side of this, it's going to be okay. We just got to, let's just trudge through this weird situation we're in, and on the other side, we'll be just fine.
And, you keep saying, well, we're 30 games up. Well, now we're 28 games up.
Right. And that's okay. Look, still 28 games up. And
I'm sorry, 28 games over 500. Yeah. We are 10 games up on Philadelphia, 10 and a half on Miami.
Still 10 games up. So just let's just
remain
be
calm,
okay.
All is well.
Things are going to be fine.
Let's see what happens at the deadline.
Well, speaking of the deadline,
let's see what happens with Max, who was supposed to throw a rehab start last night and didn't due to some sort of sickness.
Well, and that's another thing. Every little thing that could go wrong does go wrong. He was supposed to throw last night, would have put him, potentially in line to throw Sunday. Now he could still be in line to throw Sunday. He's just going to be on some rest.
Right.
But I've also let's not just talk about Max. A reporter went down to Jacksonville to have a conversation about Max Fried and comes out with a column on Michael Soroka.
Oh, okay. So that's how that went. He went down to cover Max's rehab start. Max didn't make the rehab start. So he talked to Soroka instead. Okay.
And now
that makes sense.
We're all trying to figure out what's going to happen with Michael Soroka.
I don't know that there's anything to figure out.
I don't, but a lot of folks are saying that he's potential trade piece at this point.
I don't think the Braves have taken all this time with him to trade him.
To give up in 4 months?
Yeah.
One would hope not.
No.
But they keep sending him back down.
I think they've got their reasons for sending him back down. One of those being an ERA that's +5.
At some point, he's going to have to figure it out at the major league level. Like you said, he's done everything he can do at AAA.
He has done everything he can do at AAA. But, they just made the trade for the guy from Tampa Bay.
Is it confidence? Just to keep him in high confidence? Because you can't imagine that going down to AAA every time you pitch poorly in 2 innings
helps with that.
Yeah.
I think it's just to kind of keep him on rhythm in terms of making his starts. Because, he went, 16 days between starts at one time?
Yeah.
And I mean, his start against Milwaukee was not bad.
No.
His start before that wasn't bad. I think they're just trying to keep him in a 5-day flow, so to speak. I don't know that sending him down, other than being sent down, is any kind of a message necessarily.
Well, he certainly has his thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I can understand being frustrated and being, concerned about where you stand in the organization with that.
I'm not sure.
But you also have to remember, everybody only has a certain amount of times they can be options. So sometimes you just have to be the guy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure, in retrospect, I'm not sure that our expectations for Michael Soroka for 2023 were fair.
No, my expectation personally was be a decent fifth starter. A guy who,
like I said, because that hadn't always been the case.
Well, no, but eat some innings when we don't have guys. Obviously we're missing Freed, we're missing Elder.
Elder's fine. We're missing Wright.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Freed, Wright, Elder, and Strider, and then Morton.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, if he gives us anything at the major league level, you feel pretty good.
Right.
And then obviously Freed and Wright go down, and you say, okay, well, if he can just come up and just eat some innings, that's fine. And I thought he did that well.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't asking him to go out there and win every time.
I just think that, with everything that he's had to deal with, as that AJC article, kind of spoke to, he's kind of had to rework his mechanics to try to take some stress off of the Achilles. He's had to get used to a new motion. He's had to get used to apparently some new velocity that he had not had previously. And, his command just has not been consistent. And he's been a little unlucky in that when he's missed, folks have made him pay.
Yeah.
Much like the Braves offense. So, I think whatever you see out of Michael Soroka the rest of the way, 24 is going to be really kind of the proof is in the pudding kind of thing. Well, and I don't expect that to take place in any other uniform than an Atlanta Braves uniform.
Well, I think next year has to be and it will be a big year, because you got to think that's Free's contract year. Mm-hmm. And, you need to know if you're going to have, if one, is Spencer Strider capable of being an ace on this staff? I don't know that he is. Despite the fact that he's probably going to be top 3 in the Cy Young voting.
There's no way for him not to be.
I mean, I was thinking about that when I saw his name at the top of some lists. I thought, well, yeah, because who else? I mean, he's been as dominant more than he's not, and became the first Brave in history to record 10 strikeouts in 5 straight games last night.
But when he's not striking folks out, folks are going yard on him.
Well, and that's kind of the way the Braves offense rolls, right? If we ain't going yard, we're probably striking out. And that's that's going to be, that's the thing. I'm okay with that if it's nobody on base.
Mm-hmm.
When, like last night, the home run that was hit last night was absolute trash. I mean, dude popped it up, mm-hmm. and it just happened to go out in a 290 down the right field line. It feels like Little League. That's ridiculous.
I think it's a little bit more than that.
But still, again,
I get your point.
Unlucky.
Yep.
Literally just popped it up and it happened to go out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just stuck his bat down there and there it goes. So I'm not stressing it. What I am curious is what happens in left field. I would like to see Pilar more. Don't know that I want to see Forrest Wall on base pass again.
Come on now. Everybody gets thrown out sometimes. He went first pitch. Probably everybody
knew it.
When you come in as a pinch runner.
Yeah. Whose fault is that?
It's not his.
No, but I mean, you assume it's a snicker call, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, go in there and take a bag. And you think with the guy on third that they're not going to throw, and they did anyway. So, of course, I guess it depends on who's on third.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Acuna, they're not throwing.
Well, it also depends on who the catcher is.
It does.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just literally everything that could go wrong for the Braves is going wrong.
So just
not stressing it.
Yeah.
I want to see Pilar more. I don't want to see Rosario anymore. I want to see TDA and a designated hitter role. And I want to see Forrest Wall get a chance to do whatever Forrest Wall is supposed to do on this team.
Yeah. Agreed.
Don't have time to get into it too much, but Shohei Ohtani will remain an Angel. The Angels say they're going to be buyers at the deadline and quickly made good on that promise.
I think – oh, really?
Lucas Giolito.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that is the only move really that the Angels can make. I mean, they got to bite the bullet and hope they can re-sign him over the offseason. I don't think they could trade Shohei Ohtani.
Well,
without there being a mutiny.
Especially since today he went to the bump. Complete game, one hitter, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Oh, and the Angels won 6-0. Typically, the Angels would lose that game in extra innings or something.
Sure.
But they beat Detroit 6-0, and so there you go.
You know what they say? Sometimes the best moves are the ones you don't make.
And good for them.
Yeah.
Going out and getting a pitcher. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will have Tennessee State talk. Mike Patton joins us. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll preview after this.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Sparks will fly and smoke will roll at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway as America's favorite short track roars back to life Saturday, July 29th with the return of high-speed, non-wing open-wheel sprint cars for the first time in almost 20 years. The Pro Door Manufacturing 40 joining the 500 Sprint Car Tour will be the Jake Sari All-Stars Tour presented by Chevrolet Performance. Plus, all 6 local quarter-mile divisions. Get your tickets for the return of high-octane racing action at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.Racing.
Y'all, I'm serious right now. They have a dragon here. I saw it. Wait, no, they don't. There's no such thing as dragons. I swear, I saw it. It had huge claws. Get out of here. It had eyes as big as the moon. Come on, I'll show you. Wait up. Do you hear that? We're almost there. Whoa! I told you so. That is a dragon.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park. each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
Welcome back in Mornings on Main Street. Jeez, I just saw Stephanie and I
There
was
you go.
thinking Mornings on Main Street. Main Street Sports Today presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are in the Lee Company studio and glad to have you guys with us as we are getting ready to talk a little bit and start our annual football preview segments. This is exciting as we look through the previews. We'll go from now and every single day up until August 25th, we will be previewing something in college football, whether it be a team, a conference, or both, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking forward to this next segment as we bring in Mike Patton at Mike Patton 82. What's up, Mike?
No, at John Patton.
What's going on?
No, you're right. I'm sorry. His email is John Patton 82. His Twitter is Mike Patton 82, and I apologize for correcting you when you were right. At any rate, Mike Patton, thanks for joining us, man, and shedding a little light on Tennessee State football in year 3 under Eddie George. They've been picked 5th in the preseason Ohio Valley Conference / Big South Association.
Right.
In the first year of such.
Let's call it the association.
The association, yeah, not to be confused with the National Basketball Association. But Mike, what are you seeing? What do you know? What do you think about TSU as they head into this huge September 2nd opener at South Bend?
Well, what I think about TSU this year is, it's a big thing that he has some continuity in terms of the team this year. Last year, of course, you're going in with a brand new quarterback, a lot of brand new pieces. This year, you're going in with a quarterback that actually is returning in Draylon Ellis. You're going in with a very experienced safety in Josh Green as well, and experienced defensive lineman up front in Terrell Allen as well. So there is some experience coming back. However, there is some big pieces they have to replace, which probably explains why they're preseason selected to be 5th in the conference.
Now, when you are thinking 5th in this particular conference, it's probably not where Eddie George wanted to be in year 3. If I'm, from the outside looking in. How does he get to where he wants to be?
The biggest thing is just having stability at different positions because, the biggest thing is the trenches because, let's be honest, that's where you win ball games is in the trenches. And the offensive line, it's been good at times and bad at others. And then defensive wise on the line there, it's had its moments, but it hasn't been a consistent moment. So the trenches is where he could probably get where he, consistent there. And he did bring in some pieces that came in from other schools.
How tough an admission is that for a former receiver?
Look, never tough to talk about the trenches. It's always where you win.
Okay. As you look at this preseason poll, and I don't know if it's fair to look at it this way because, it is an association between the OVC and the Big South, but Southeast Missouri State is picked to win this. UT Martin is 3rd behind Gardner-Webb from the Big South, followed by Tennessee Tech and Tennessee State. So 4 of the top 5 teams are from the OVC. So again, this isn't where Eddie George wants this program to be right now, and they've not necessarily gotten that traction even within, quote, their own conference necessarily. How do you feel like they've addressed the situation in the trenches, or have they?
They actually brought in some pieces. I believe they brought in the guy from a player from Grambling this year to play in the trenches, and then plus you have a few guys that are, a few incoming freshmen as well that they're bringing in, and I believe a gentleman from JUCO ranks. So they kind of went all around to kind of address that need. And in my opinion, this is probably the best way they went about addressing the offensive line, and hopefully it kind of turns out when it comes to the field.
As this particular season goes forward, what is the biggest positive that Tennessee State has right now? Where do they stand out among the OVC?
The biggest positive is they have probably the best safety in the OVC, in my opinion, in Josh Green. I mean, guy makes plays. He makes plays at the line of scrimmage, in the secondary as well, and he's a leader back there. So he's been there for a long time. He's a senior this year. So, and then you have, of course, Terrell Allen up front, which, he came over from Austin Peay along with Draylon Ellis, and he's an experienced guy, and he's very, very highly touted as well. So you have those two guys that are, definitely there that can definitely, bring the positive to that. And then also you have a guy that at quarterback that is actually very, very experienced as well, along with he can make plays in the pocket and out of the pocket in Draylon Ellis. So if they can get some consistent play out of Draylon Ellis in terms of, the protection and, hitting his players down the field along with making plays out of the pocket, and if Josh Green and Terrell Allen are able to lead this defense, then I could see them finishing better than 5th in the conference. Quite honestly, I like Tennessee Tech. They're solid. They're going to put the ball up. They're going to make some things happen. But a lot of times the preseason rankings don't always pan out with the way that they're scheduled to, especially when it comes to OVC teams.
Mike Patton joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, talking a little Tennessee State football. Mike, what do you anticipate the running game looking like with the departure of Devon Starling?
Well, honestly, the running game was led last year by Jalen Rouse for the TSU Tigers. He actually was the starting running back, and like Devon Starling would come in and make his presence felt. But actually, Rouse was probably the more consistent of the two guys. So this year, I would expect Rouse to kind of build upon the things he had last year. He's a quick guy. He can definitely make some things happen. Probably he's not as big as Devon Starling was, but he can definitely make some things happen, hit the hole, and he runs hard. So I think he's a guy that's going to take another step forward and maybe push, who knows, maybe push for 1,000 yards this year.
It's interesting because that was one of the questions I had, because obviously you said they're breaking in a quarterback, right?
No. Draylon Ellis actually
coming back, right?
He's returning. Yeah, he's returning.
I thought I heard you in the beginning say, and maybe you were talking about last year breaking in a new quarterback, but I was a little taken aback there because I was thinking, well, I hope Draylon Ellis is returning. I thought he was, but that's it, and that's a huge. Having a second-year quarterback, a guy like Draylon Ellis, who's been not only at this level but played at Austin Peay, he's got to take leadership of this team. He's got to find a way to make sure that when they get an opportunity that he cashes in. Having a guy who is a senior, who's been a starter for, I guess this will be his 4th year in the OVC as a starter, that's huge.
Right. Definitely is. And to me, yeah, he definitely is a player that can make some exciting things happen. I mean, scrambling outside the pocket. One thing he does is he keeps his eyes up if players are open down the field to try to hit them. Sometimes it's a decision that works. Other times it's a decision that, kind of goes against him. But, definitely he can make some things happen. But the leadership piece is definitely something to watch. I'm pretty sure Eddie George wants him to be more of a leader on the field. I'm not saying he wasn't last year. I'm just saying, being that he is a senior, an experienced guy, especially in the OVC, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be a voice that Eddie George wants to hear more on the field compared to last year.
Mike, again, you've got this big game up at Notre Dame to open the season. If you're Tennessee State, how do you approach this game knowing that you've got Pine Bluff the next week in the Southern Heritage Classic before you open association play at home against Gardner Webb?
Well, you approach it first thing with you have nothing to lose because everyone's picking you to lose this game anyway. So you really have nothing to lose. That's the biggest thing. Go out there, play loose, play fun, and go out there and represent your school. Second thing is you want to come out of this with no injuries or as little injuries as possible because you got a whole season to prepare for. You've got a chance in the association. I mean, you're listed as fifth, but I mean, there was a year that UT Martin was listed probably fourth or fifth and won the conference. So anything is possible in the association. So, that's what you want to do. Go in there relaxed. You have nothing to lose. And also, you want to come out with no injuries as well, but you also want to find some things out about your team in terms of the players that you have on the field. And that's probably something that Eddie George will be watching as well.
Again, coming off of that Notre Dame game, go to Pine Bluff, and then you open association play against Gardner Webb, who has picked to finish second in the conference, the league, the association. You don't exactly get to ease into conference play, I don't guess.
Not necessarily. You don't. You're expecting probably the Pine Bluff game to, kind of get some things worked out if they didn't work out versus Notre Dame. But yeah, I mean, the last year they didn't really, ease into conference play, or they thought they were easing into conference play when they played Lane and then ended up losing the game. So, this year, a tough road to kind of start the season. However, I don't think Eddie George would have it any other way. I mean, he's going to find out a lot about his team early.
Yeah, no doubt, because again, Notre Dame, Pine Bluff, at Nissan against Gardner Webb in the John Merritt Classic, and then you go to UT Martin.
At least you get a week off.
Yeah, you need a week off probably after that 3-game start. You go to UT Martin to close out September, and then you go to Kennesaw the following week.
Now, I will say this about the UT Martin game. The UT Martin game is actually a game where they are actually the Hall of Famers, the new UT Martin Hall of Famers will be presented that day. And one of them actually
the voice of the Skyhawks is on this call, so just be careful. I'm just saying.
No, one of them I actually played with, which is Alex Atkins. Alex Atkins is actually being represented. He's actually the offensive coordinator for Florida State, and he actually is getting put into the UT Martin Hall of Fame. So that's going to be an interesting day in terms of the buzz up there at UT Martin. So probably a little bit extra buzz will be there that day.
Interesting.
Then you said Kennesaw. It's amazing. That should be fun. And then Norfolk State comes to Nashville, and then Lincoln, California. This is a game that I'm interested in because I don't know anything about them other than they just started a couple years ago.
Yeah, not much out there about Lincoln, to be honest. I did a little digging around. So, they're kind of a little bit of a mystery. I won't expect them to be necessarily the strongest of teams, but they're going to come out here and play their hardest. We know that. But, it's still a little bit of a mystery about Lincoln, still kind of digging around about them.
Yeah, there's almost nothing out there. They're from Oakland, and their nickname is the Oaklanders. So there's that. Apparently, there was Gary Payton coaches their basketball team.
That is correct. That is correct.
This is the wildest thing I've ever heard. That's
pretty interesting.
So nuts. And their defensive coordinator is former NFLer Desmond Bishop. So who played?
Yes, I recognize that name.
So I just thought that was an interesting, type of game. And then you get Lindenwood, who's not eligible for the OVC title or postseason play because they're coming up from D2. So things get a little easier after that first stretch. You feel like, Norfolk, Lincoln, and Lindenwood should be a manageable stretch.
Right, depending upon the health of the team because, It sounds like it's manageable right now, but, one big injury and it can go from manageable to crisis situation. So, you definitely hope by that point you figured out a little bit more about your team, what works, what doesn't work. And then also a big thing is going to be the adjustments, because plenty of teams are going to have film on you by the time those games come around. And the biggest thing is being able to make adjustments as an offensive and defensive coordinator or as a player and things like that. Because last year, at the beginning of the year, TSU was scoring points, putting up points, doing pretty good. And then as the season went on, it was a little bit more of a struggle, especially in the red zone, to actually score points score touchdowns instead of field goals. So that's going to be the main thing to actually take a look at too, is the adjustments and how they're able to adjust to teams adjusting to them.
All right. A couple other names I want to mention. Terrell Allen, obviously first team All-OVC last year. James Green, second team All-OVC. Kayvon Pope, second team All-OVC last year. They've got some guys who they're expecting to make some waves in 2023. Who's a guy that you we've not heard of who may show up and be that kind of guy?
Interesting. You kind of named the guys that I would say would be the guys making the plays, but I just mentioned them. You mentioned James Green, but his brother Josh Green is the safety. That's the guy that I'm looking to be the guy this year for Tennessee State University. He's been there for 4 years now, and every game he seems to make some kind of play when he's out there. So I would look for him to be a guy to make some plays. Definitely that you've got two replacements at inside linebacker this year, because Jason Bryant, who was a vocal leader and kind of the heart and soul of that defense, isn't there anymore. So you're going to have two fresh new linebackers in there. I think Kayvon Pope and Bryant are not there, and then you'll have two fresh new linebackers in there as well. So that'll be something to watch. But a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing this year is Josh Green, because he definitely makes some plays happen.
All right. There you have it. Mike Patton joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, talking Roar City. Hashtag, make sure to check it out and check out Mike. Mike, where can they find your work, and how can we keep up with the Tigers this year?
Well, you can find me, I will say this, a lot of the press conferences, things like that, you can definitely find those on YouTube. My YouTube, it's Mike Patton, of course, my name. But as far as my work, you can find, I actually do a lot of freelancing, so you can actually see it in the Nashville Voice, or you can see it in the Tennessee Tribune as well.
All right. It's good to know. We appreciate you taking time with us and talking a little bit of Tigers football, and we look forward to seeing Eddie George in year 3 and what he can accomplish.
It's definitely going to be a one to watch, because, year 3, year 4, and I think he signed a 4-year deal. So it's definitely going to be some interesting eyes watching this team this year.
Mike, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have the voice of the Skyhawks, as I mentioned. John Hattler joins us. He's going to preview the Skyhawks and the rest of the association with us best we can as we get ready to embark on college football. So stick here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll come back to the Lee Company studio in a moment.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill's Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo is working. I thought he was about to jump rope there for a second.
Well, the good thing is these are long enough that I could.
You could.
I don't think anybody wants to see that. But they are.
They make great television. Oh, it's Mo, Pat, and Chrissy out here with you on this Thursday edition as we are setting and embarking on our annual college football preview, starting in the Big South OVC Association. And to talk a little more about the rest of the Big South, but a little bit extra emphasis on the UT Martin Skyhawks, is voice of the Skyhawks, John Hattler. Thanks for joining us, man.
Man, I appreciate it, Tony. It's nice and warm out here in Northwest Tennessee, and I'm sure you're dealing with the same in Middle Tennessee, but nonetheless, we've got high school and college football. UT Martin's going through their workouts, so we're what, less than 3 weeks away from high school and pretty close for college too. So we're excited. And
I shudder literally every time somebody mentions how close we are to high school football, because I don't think I'm ready. What about you?
No, I'm never ready.
Yeah, so if we could get that pushed back a couple of weeks, it'd be nice, but I don't think we are. John, what is the reception in Northwest Tennessee, from your understanding, with regards to this, the Big South OVC Association? And for one thing, I don't know why here it's not the OVC Big South Association, but at any rate,
alphabetical order, I don't know.
Yeah, how's that being received?
I mean, a lot of times I would say emotions are tempered when things come out of necessity. And we're seeing a lot of things outside athletics that are happening that are out of necessity. And whether it be property tax rate increases and assessments in the state, things like that. I don't want to get off into too much of it, but I will say that I think it's unfortunate that the Ohio Valley Conference is kind of having to go into this. I think there's been some attrition that has hurt the conference, and I do know there is some remorse by some of them for leaving and not sticking with the OVC, but that's water under the bridge. You've got to do what you have to do, and the OVC and the Big South have gotten together to make sure that automatic qualifier stays in place. I do like the fact that it's somewhat regional. There are some natural rivalries that can come out of this. And when we start talking about regions, we've seen it in the Power 5 conferences. Regions are expanding, and the geographical footprint of conferences is getting larger. And unfortunately, the Ohio Valley Conference is going through that as well. And there's really no sense in getting too torn up about it now. You got to go play the games. But I do really wish that the bulk of the OVC was still together. I think it was trending in the right direction, particularly in football, because there's starting to be some postseason wins that had escaped this conference for a long time. And hopefully this will be better. But you still got to go play them, and we'll see how it works out.
Looking at y'all's schedule, John, it may be a little bit more attractive from a fan standpoint than from a player standpoint, because you guys took a big bite to open the season going down to Athens, Georgia on September 5th to take on the two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. How did that come about?
Well, at UT Martin, what we want to do is we want to go play conference champions, and it doesn't matter where it is. And so, biting all, that was tongue in cheek, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But, you do. I mean, it's kind of funny you bring that up, because Bart Ballou, who's associate athletic director and head trainer here at UT Martin, has always made the comment that when you get into this, you start playing these big boys and you get put on a grand stage. When you're at the FCS level, whether you go to play Tennessee or Ole Miss or Mississippi State, any of these schools that UT Martin has played, or Florida or anybody else, the sense of awareness is heightened. And the kids, not that they don't play hard, but the game's faster. They realize that they have an opportunity to put some film on. They got some tape against high-level competition. You take a look last year when UT Martin went to Knoxville, Dresser Wynn and Colton Dow both had great days. Colton Dow, of course, Middle Tennessee boy, got drafted by the Tennessee Titans and hoping to make that roster. Dresser Wynn picks up a free agent offer from the Los Angeles Rams. So they were able to put some film up against some really good teams. And when you're in our position at the FCS level, there's a monetary concern that you face on a yearly basis, and having the opportunity to go play these SEC schools when you're from the South does two things. We just mentioned it. It allows you to put some film up there, but also opens new recruiting areas for you as well. One of my dear friends who used to be the defensive coordinator here at UT Martin, Jordan Hankins, who's now at Memphis, I'd asked him a couple of weeks ago about, is recruiting regional anymore? And he said, no, it's national. He said, even at the University of Memphis, it is a national recruiting. And you have to really embrace that as an FCS level school, to go to these big schools, play these games, have an opportunity to see some folks. And there's also a trickle-down effect of we've picked up young men before from South Florida that came to UT Martin and played. You go play Ole Miss. Our quarterback this year, one of our quarterbacks vying for a spot, Kincaid Dent, he's an Ole Miss transfer. So there's an opportunity to showcase your program and your systems when you go to these big schools. So if some young players do decide to transfer, UT Martin's on their mind.
Makes sense. John Hattler, the play-by-play voice of UT Martin football, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, as we continue to talk a little OVC/Big South Association football. After you guys get done at Georgia, it's Missouri State, Houston Christian, and a trip to Florence to take on North Alabama before you get into association play with that Tennessee State game that we just mentioned with Mike Patton in the last segment up at y'all's place on September 30th. I mean, it would seem that you're going to know a little bit about your team by the time you get to TSU.
You would. You're talking about a Missouri State team that's kind of been a regular on the schedule. UT Martin picked up the first ever Division I playoff win a couple of years ago at Missouri State. Of course, Bobby Petrino has since left. Houston Christian is a team that UT Martin handled pretty well last year when we went on the road to Houston. So coming back up here, and Tennessee State, you mentioned it with Mike a little while ago. I think everybody across the state, quite frankly, across the nation, is waiting to see what Eddie George can get done with Tennessee State University. And it's kind of one of those games that's always a good game for UT Martin. It does not matter if one team is down and one is up. There's always a very, very good atmosphere at that game. And it's just a situation where you hope you come out on top. And as Mike had mentioned, that's going to be homecoming. And got Hall of Famers going in that day. And he mentioned, Coach Atkins, who's the offensive coordinator at Florida State, it's the first time he's been back in a while. And so it's going to be, like you said, a heightened sense of awareness of what's going on by both schools during that game.
Tell you what, the back half of this schedule is loaded up. You got to go to Gardner Webb, who you mentioned earlier, picked second to win this thing and won the Big South last year. Then you've got SEMO, who also finished 5-0 and is picked in the OVC last year and is picked to win the thing. And then you got Sanford on the road. This is a really – and you got to go to Cookeville on top of that. And we all know that that's not an easy trip. So talk about a tough back half of the schedule.
It is. And for me, the biggest scare is Geno Hess at SEMO. I mean, Coach Matukowicz up in Cape Girardeau is fine. He's got things going. And Geno Hess, a lot of folks really thought may stick his toes in the water to go play professional football at the end of last year. He decided to come back and play. And, of course, we were co-champions with SEMO last year. That's turned into a really good game over the past few years. Both UT Martin and SEMO have been at the top of the conference. You mentioned Tennessee Tech. Coach Alexander has got his alma mater, the Golden Eagles, moving around. The plans came out the other day for a massive upgrade on that stadium. So you know that, quite frankly, hey, the pressure is on Coach Alexander to get that going, to justify the investment that Cookeville's going to make into that stadium. And so there's a lot of that going on, and it is a loaded back half of the schedule. And I do, the Garner Webb game, that's a familiar opponent. UT Martin and Garner Webb have a series with each other along the way. So you know that the football is going to be Garner Webb's, and again, another one of those pockets, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. You've got a lot of really good football players coming out of that geographical area. For UT Martin to go over there and fare well in a game and play in that game and hopefully win that game, again, UT Martin can be something on the forefront of people's lips when you hear about a place to go play your high school or your college football.
Well, you mentioned Geno Hess, the SEMO running back. They've also got Paxton DeLaurent, who is one of the watch listers and was 2022 all-newcomer team last year for SEMO, the junior quarterback. But you guys also have a running back of your own, Sam Franklin, who was in the freshman of the year last year. So plenty of solid running backs in this conference when you're thinking about J.D. Moore, Nari Gaither from Gardner Webb, and then Jawan Fari from Eastern Illinois. Just a lot of really good running backs in this league.
And it was Zach Wallace, of course, entered the transfer portal, went to Arkansas State. Sam Franklin had one of the top 10 yards per touchdown rushes in the nation last year. So Sam Franklin's a young man that when he gets that, it's tough between the tackles, but when he gets an open space, And not only will he get around you, he will outrun you. And he's got a chance to put up some really big numbers this year behind a pretty decent offensive line. So graduation got some of it, but by and large, this Coach Kevin Bannon, the offensive line coach at UT Martin, has done an excellent job through the course of his career here. He's also a former Ohio Valley Conference, all conference performer that has come back to his alma mater, and he's been the O-line coach for a while, and he's pumping out some players. So it most definitely, UT Martin can ground and pound when they want to. And when you've got a guy like Sam Franklin that can flat get out there and go in the open spaces, it makes for exciting football games to call.
Well, as we look at the preseason poll, again, Southeast Missouri State, 6 first-place votes, picked to win it. Gardner-Webb with 2 in second, UT Martin and Tennessee Tech with 1 each. Martin by far and away 3 over 4 there, 85 points to 58, and just missed being second to Gardner-Webb. But Tennessee State 5th, Bryant 6th, Lindenwood, who again is not eligible for postseason play or for the championship, picked 7th. Eastern Illinois, Charleston Southern, and Robert Morris. It's weird to see Eastern Illinois that far down the list.
Well, it is, and there's been, with higher education in the state of Illinois, there's been some financial issues there. Eastern Illinois, with the Jimmy Garoppolo days and Brandon Jacobs when they're running all Tony Romo when they're lighting up everybody, and it is kind of been disheartening to see EIU fall off over time and trying to get it seems like they roll their roster every single year, and a good EIU is good for the Ohio Valley Conference. I mean, it just is. And I like the addition of Lindenwood. I think they're a couple of years away, but when you're in that greater St. Louis area with the level of talent that's around that area, we kind of saw it last year. I mean, the best wide receiver performance against UT Martin all year long was a wide receiver from Lindenwood. And Lindenwood their football coaches kind of got, what I understand, kind of got caught out of nowhere when that jump was made really in the middle. That announcement was made kind of overnight about moving to Division I and moving to the Ohio Valley Conference, that they would have changed their recruiting strategy all the way around. But you could tell that the facilities are nice. And I think Coach Stuttgart up there has got things moving in the right direction. I don't think Lindenwood this year, but in the years to come, gentlemen, that's going to be a potentially scary team in the Ohio Valley Conference with the resources and geographical area that they have to recruit from.
I think you're exactly right. Lindenwood is going to be scary for the foreseeable future very soon. And how long do you see this Big South OVC thing lasting? Is it going to be something that's going to go on for a while? Do you think, with conference realignment at the top level, clearly we're about to talk about it in just a second, it's probably not over. There's teams that are going to move up, teams that are going to move away. What does it look like going forward?
I don't know, but I will say this. I believe that one thing that can come out financially, the Ohio Valley Conference is in a very strong position. There's money in the coffers to help move things forward. On a personal level, I would love to see the Ohio Valley Conference kind of change its opinion and aggressively pursue North Alabama. I think that makes a lot of sense for the conference. I believe a Gardner-Webb is another one that if this partnership were to dissolve, I would like us to really go after an Arkansas Pine Bluff. I would like us to really take a hard look at Western Illinois, which, well, we've already taken a look. They're coming. I mean, Western Illinois is going to join the OVC and leave the Missouri Valley. I like that move. And I also believe that there's just a couple of those FCS level schools throughout Kentucky, North Alabama, even in the state of Tennessee that that the OVC should really take a good hard look at getting. Arkansas Pine Bluff for me makes a ton of sense. We bring in another school geographically that can line up with Arkansas Little Rock in basketball, baseball, and everything else. It also brings another HBCU school into the Ohio Valley Conference, and Tennessee State has stuck it out and stayed in. And I think it's important that we have all the teams, really from the edges of the state of Tennessee. If we can recruit them and get them in, I think that's very, very important. Aggressively, make sure EIU stays in and things like that. I think this partnership is probably around for a little while until one of the two entities gets aggressive and goes and makes sure they get enough conference memberships to secure their automatic qualifier. And I don't mean make sure you've got 6 teams because you got to have 5 opponents to play to get an AQ. I'm talking about 7 and 8 teams. The schedule can be rotated, that natural rivalries can still be created and made and played on a yearly basis. And if someone does choose to leave, like a Jacksonville State leaving the OVC, don't blame them at all. They always made that very clear from the beginning that that's what they were going to do. Some of the other teams that left the OVC make no sense. And I think there's some buyer's remorse now from those institutions looking around going, what did we do? And, so I think the Ohio Valley Conference in particular has to make sure that everybody understands that you are moving forward. Yes, this needs to be a basketball conference because that's where you make some money, but you better be about football and you better put the resources behind football, because football is winning on the national scene now from the Ohio Valley Conference, and that was not happening a couple of years ago. Maybe a Big South OVC merger altogether may work. I don't know, but I just know somebody has got to be insanely aggressive to sell what you have, improve what you have, make the investment in what you have, and market what you have to make something so strong that's impenetrable from the FCS level.
John Hattler, voice of the Skyhawks, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. John, thanks for taking some time with us and telling us a little bit more about what's going on with this Big South OVC Alliance. And we're looking forward to another great year of OVC football, but including the Big South this year. Should be fun.
Yeah, and a lot of good local kids. 3 wide receivers right now that graduated from UT Martin are in camp at NFL. We're turning into a mini Tennessee. A wide receiver U over here at the FCS level. Yeah, so we're excited about that. Jason Simpson's back for his 18th year and looking for a three-peat.
Well, good luck to y'all. And again, we appreciate your time, John. Look forward to catching up with you down into the year. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a 1-minute break here and come back and talk more conference realignment. Colorado is pretty well set to go to the Big 12.
They might not be the only ones.
They may not be the only one. There may be 8 more. I don't know. We'll talk about it on the other side of the break. Stick around. Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, returns to the Lee Company studio.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat.
She's on Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions, and Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. It is, in fact, Alyssa Lang.
I'm a little nervous. I'm going to lower the bar for guests now.
Oh, no.
Apologies in advance. It sounds like
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
You got that radio voice.
I do.
It's a good sound.
Thanks for radio, too.
As do we.
And then here's the other thing. You guys, you're spot on with the name. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. Everybody wants to be on Main Street.
And we reach every Main Street in Middle Tennessee, Coach?
Yeah, that's it. So
Perfect.
when you are on Main Street and you are moving,
you gotta love it.
Like you're moving. I was impressed.
I'm glad someone.
My goodness. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. A lot of information there from the OVC Big South in that last 50 minutes or so, and we appreciate, again, John Hattler and Mike Patton coming on to give us that information. Before we get into conference realignment, you mentioned as we were in break there that the Bengals have suffered a setback as Joe Burrow was carted off of the practice field earlier today. It was initially reported that it could be an Achilles injury. It appears, according to Ian Rappaport, Zach Taylor tells reporters that Burrow suffered a calf strain.
Well, you certainly hope it's the latter and not the former, but I will tell you, when you look at the play, I mean, it's not immediately clear, obviously, but it's scary, especially if you're a Bengals fan.
I see him scrambling to his right, and he just pops up.
Pops? Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you like you said, you really hope that it's just a calf strain and that, you know, he's able to rest and take some time off and get back on the field after preseason. Maybe he gets a little work in that last preseason game, but man, that is,
you hate to see
that's
that.
scary.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy who's coming up on his contract, you know, and I mean, we know what Achilles injuries look like.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good.
No.
So, and they're not easy to come back from.
No.
Well, Colorado is all but gone back to the big. Guess who's back?
Back again.
Back again. Prime.
Prime is back. Tell a friend.
And he is bringing the Buffs back to the Big 12. I mean, it was almost, it felt like this was inevitable. But the longer it kind of went on where you didn't hear it, you almost thought, well, crap, maybe it's not going to happen.
Maybe the Pac-12 was kind of whistling past the graveyard, huh?
And I don't think this happens if the Pac-12 had a media deal in place.
No.
But Colorado's like, listen, we got to get our money. We got to pay Prime. So we're going to need y'all to make a decision.
And if you don't,
we will. And they did, apparently, or did today, are going to today at some point. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So
yeah.
You said that they may not be the only ones. I'm not sure that by the time we get on the air tomorrow that the Pac-12 or Pac-10 will exist.
Well, that wasn't my reference, but apparently Florida State is making some noise again.
Florida State can't go anywhere. Not without the rest of the ACC. I mean, yeah, but
I don't know.
It's that grant of rights deal is pretty solid.
Pretty ironclad.
I mean, that's about as solid as it gets. Otherwise, ACC teams would have moved in the first round. And Florida State going to the Big 12 makes about as much sense.
No, I don't think they're talking big. Well, I mean, no destination has been necessarily mapped out.
Where we sit right now in conference realignment, the Big 12 is in the driver's seat because they're the only conference, you know, with a legitimate contingency west of the Mississippi. The Pac, I guess now they're the Pac-9. No, next year they're down to 10, and now they're down to 9. That's 8 opponents. Oof. Now you've got to fill a whole nother. Every team's got to schedule another game with somebody.
Got to.
And it ain't going to be Colorado. And now the deadline has passed for San Diego State. So now their buyout's $34 million.
And
now you're going to get some money from Colorado.
Going to pay it.
Well, I mean, you're going to get some money from Colorado, whatever that money is. But at this point, it just feels like the Pac-9 needs to just pack it in. I'm gonna make that meme. Pack it in. Just be done with it. Because there's nowhere to go. SMU maybe. But again, you're reaching all the way across the Big 12's footprint to go get SMU
from the AAC.
When San Diego State's in your
Right
backyard,
there.
or you could get San Diego State. You could get, UNLV has been linked to wanting to move into the Power 5 ranks.
I just don't think.
Would Boise State go?
No. I don't think Boise State really wants any part of the pack.
Whatever. The Pacific Conference.
And really, I don't think the pack, fill in the blank, really wants UNLV. I think the perception of that conference is such that we don't trifle with schools like UNLV. I mean,
well, and that's kind of the thing is that their academic standards in the Pac X is just that's kind of kept them from being able to go get whoever and whenever. But at this point,
it's about survival.
It's about survival. And the Vegas market would be a great market for them.
Well, I mean, they don't mind playing their conference tournaments in Vegas. They just don't want
the school.
Nevada, Las Vegas.
Right. And I mean, Nevada, that's a school that could potentially, make some waves if they wanted to come in.
What are they in? They're in the WAC?
They're in.
Or are they in the Mountain West?
They've got to be in the Mountain West if they're in FBS, right? Yeah, Mountain West.
Okay.
Because the WAC is a FCS conference. But I mean, that's kind of where you're at. You don't have a whole lot of options at this point. And the Mountain West is just going, what do you do if you're the Mountain West? You've already had to fight San Diego State.
I don't know what you do if you're the Mountain West.
I think that's where this is really going to get wild is obviously that group of 5 conference area that the Pac-X may or may not try to go get. And if they do, they're going to make more. You're going to make more money if you're in the world of Washington, Oregon, Oregon State. But if you're Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, Stanford, you can't be waiting on this Pac-12 rights deal. And you can't be do you feel comfortable playing Boise State and UNLV every year?
I think Stanford in particular is the one that stands to lose the most as this goes further along, because
100%.
UCLA, USC are already gone. I think Stanford is probably, even though they've not been as successful at football, I just think Stanford is probably the most well-rounded athletic program.
Well, they are. They routinely win that
college
cup thing because of all of the non-revenue sports, of swimming and diving and equestrian and all of those other things. But Cal, those 2 schools with their academics,
right?
I mean, what do? Do they go independent?
Maybe they go Big 12.
I don't know. This is going to have more of an impact than Texas, Oklahoma did. It won't be as big, but it's going to have more trickle-down effect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be more of a seismic shift.
We could see an entire Power 5 conference not exist.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow. And if the Pac-X doesn't exist, maybe the ACC comes in and says, we'll have a WCC and a PCC and a ACC, and
the Coastal Conference.
There you go. Maybe that's the play. Be wild to see, man. This is gonna be nuts. Just keep an eye out.
And who knew when we talked about Texas, Oklahoma 2 years ago that this was where we were going to get to? And seriously.
Certainly not me. We'll look forward to talking more about it as we continue on talking football previews. We've got Austin Peay and the Atlantic Sun tomorrow. So come back with us right here on Main Street Sports Today.